On this episode of the Best of Bias podcast, you got me, Lydell Dinero, talking NFL, talking fantasy football, talking pop culture, everything you know and love. We talking about it today. NFL Week 2 just wrapped up, so we talking about how my predictions, when we're going to go over those just like we did last week with Week 1. And I'm going to give some predictions for Week 3 and see how we're going to do there. And then we're going to talk about the Best of Bias Invitational Week 2, go over some results on that, talk about that a little bit. And then we got a couple of, pop culture topics I'm going to drop in there. Not too many today, just mostly the NFL. Sports are in full go. October, we got basketball coming, baseball playoffs are coming. So a lot of sports are going to be heavy on the upcoming episodes of the Best of Bias podcast. But thank you for being here. It's going to be a great episode. I hope you're ready. And where the theme song is right here, baby. Let's go.
It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. Your best of bias. It's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias podcast with Lydell Dinero and Hugo Twilight.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Best of Bias podcast, starring yours truly, Lydell Dinero, and the family, of course, you guys. Thank you for being here today. Excuse me. Wow, starting early, huh? Thank you for being here today. And, I hope you guys are ready for some sports because that's what we're talking. NFL Week 2 was crazy. A lot of comebacks, a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of brilliant performances. We'll get into all that. We got some fantasy. I'm 0-2 right now. I don't really want to talk about it, but I got to talk about it because I told y'all weekly I'll check in with y'all and let y'all know what the, Best of Bias Invitational is looking like. And then we got some pop culture topics, like I said in the beginning there. So let's just get right into it. Let's review with some of these Week 2 games, starting with that Chargers and Kansas City game. The Chargers did end up losing 27-24. You know how I feel about Justin Herbert and the Chargers. That's my AFC team, you know what I'm saying? But it was a good game, man. Herbert played well, 33 for 48, 334 yards, 334 yards, excuse me. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He didn't have Keenan Allen. He had a hamstring injury, so it's just basically Mike Williams and Everett, a little bit of Josh Palmer in there, but mostly Mike Williams. He had like 4 targets, 5 catches, 4 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown in the first half. He was getting off. Whoever had him in fantasy, yeah, it was pretty wild. Also, Justin Herbert got a little hurt in the game, hurt his ribs. He was still able to finish the game, but he did throw a crucial pick 6 in that game that gave Kansas City the win there. Mahomes is looking crazy still, although he doesn't have Tyreek Hill anymore. He is still looking really crazy. He's still throwing the ball, sidearm, kind of backyard football, and then crazy, like Johnny Manziel in college type shit. I know it's kind of apples to oranges right there, talking like comparing Mahomes and Johnny Manziel, but it's just the way he does it out there. It just makes it look really simple, like he's playing backyard football, and it's kind of crazy. We'll talk about Kyler Murray a little bit down the line here, but them two are just go kind of crazy, and the AFC is going to be kind of wild because we'll talk about the Bills as well because they play Monday Night Football. It's just going to be a tough contest out there in the AFC. I think the AFC teams are way better than the NFC this year, and these performances are crazy. That AFC West alone, we'll see plenty of those matchups between Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes for years to come. Get well soon, Justin Herbert, because you know how I rock with the Oregon squad and my alums, you know what I'm saying? And people, like I said last episode, people are talking about him like he's going to be the next up. So once Keenan Allen gets back and, J.C. Jackson and those defensive pieces that just got there, get in full swing and get it all together, I think they'll be great. But they did lose. The Chargers are 1-1 now. Kansas City moves on to 2-0. New England beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 17-14. Though Mac Jones is still not looking great, I think the quarterback situation over in Pittsburgh may be a little bit worse. Mitch Trubisky, he is what we thought he was. Excuse me, I'm fixing my chain here. Man, I need to shave too. I'm sorry, everybody out there who likes him cleanly shaven. But I'll get to it next episode. I'm actually going on vacation here a little bit, so I'm trying to squeeze this episode in. Sorry if I'm slacking a little bit, but I got to give the family a little pie before I go out of town. So I'm hoping I'm not letting y'all down. Just bear with me here if y'all feel like I'm lacking, but I'm gonna give it my all for y'all, no matter if I'm going on vacation or not. But yeah, New England's defense was able to stop Pittsburgh. They're both pretty much defensive teams at this point because both the quarterbacks aren't really I don't know. I don't know how long Mac Jones is going to survive because, shoot, at this point, Mac Jones is kind of determining how long Bill Belichick is going to stay around in New England. I don't think he's the right guy for him. And there's a lot of quarterbacks coming out next year, but I don't know if the Patriots will be bad enough to actually get that quarterback. And Bill Belichick, I think, is stubborn enough to stay with Mac Jones just to say that I was right about picking him and my development, my system works. You know what I mean? But yeah, Pittsburgh got to get that off, like that quarterback situation right, because they got a bunch of receiver weapons. The running back is nice. The offensive line is terrible. Maybe that's why Mitch Trubisky's always running for his life and making bad decisions. And that defense is incredible too. So they need to get it together. The Steelers are, I think, they're 1-1 now. And New England's 1-1 as well because they lost last week to Miami, but they actually won this week. So Carolina lost to the Giants. The Giants are actually 2-0 right now. The Giants won 19-16. Saquon Barkley is just doing it all. But I don't know. I can't really think of them as a true contender with Daniel Jones at quarterback. It's just a matter of time before he makes a bunch of mistakes and shit just goes down. So I think though Dak Prescott got hurt, the other three, like second, third, fourth place, are still wide open for the NFC East. I think the Eagles are going to take that division all in all, but that defense that the Cowboys have, I think are going to beat the Giants this Monday night. That'll come with my predictions a little bit later, but I'm just saying though, that NFC East is just always kind of fluctuating. Well, not really as far as who wins the division, but they go from sometimes they good to now they're just really bad. The last couple of years they've been really bad, and then sometimes I don't know. Maybe they getting back to being good. They're on the verge of being all good again. But man, that Dak Prescott injury. But we'll talk about the Cowboys a little bit later. But yeah, Baker Mayfield. I'm worried that he's ruining Christian McCaffrey though, because I had him in fantasy. Like I said, I picked him up at number 8. I thought it was the jug, but he is not doing nothing right now. I'm used to that 40, 50 point games from McCaffrey. I got like 15, maybe 19. Like, come on, bro. I need more. And if Baker Mayfield goes over there and ruins DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, we're gonna have a problem, Baker. Come on, player. You can do it. Just give him the ball 16 times, 25 times a game. Let him get his points. I mean, if you're gonna lose games anyways, might as well do that shit. God damn it. Anyways, moving on. Jets beat the Browns 31-30 in a crazy ass game with the battle of the backups. Joe Flacco went off 307 yards, 4 TDs. Garrett Wilson, I was telling you, man, those rookie receivers, they're gonna come out and do some things. Garrett Wilson, I think he had a couple touchdowns, about 100 yards. 8 carries, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. Corey Davis actually had a touchdown. The Browns themselves, they had the game handily, and they let the Jets come all the way back. There was 3 games, which were epic like comeback games that we thought a team was clearly going to win. They're ahead, and we thought they were just going to, finish the game out and just win. But the other team showed grit and came back and did some crazy stuff. All the players on the team really performed. A lot of the rookies, a lot of the backup quarterbacks came out there and performed. And we're gonna get into all of them. But this game here, if you watch the game, you know what's up. I watched a lot of these games on Red Zone because I got, fantasy football and all that. But Amari Cooper, like I said, had 9 catches, 101 yards. There's Amari Cooper showing. Jacoby Brissett actually was linking up with him. So hopefully that's something that actually continues. I saw David Njoku actually catch some passes. I had him on fantasy team too. So you got to get him the ball player. You got to do that. Nick Chubb was the main person on the Browns who was kind of handling business. So that's why I thought they were going to win, because they're doing ground control, clock management kind of stuff. Chubb had 3 touchdowns and they were winding the clock down, but Joe Flacco was actually able to, go balls to the wall and actually able to come back, which is really crazy. But yeah, the Jets are 1-1 and the Browns are 1-1 as well. The Colts, who are really trash, I don't know what happened to the Colts. They're 0-1 right now after losing 24-0 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is crazy as hell. Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk, they paid a bunch of money for Christian Kirk this year to come over from Arizona and be the number 1 receiver for Trevor Lawrence. And he's been paying off. Kirk had 6 catches, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence went 25 for 30, 35 with 2 touchdowns. Yeah. It was pretty wild. Trevor Lawrence and them, without Urban Meyer, are actually doing pretty good. So it's exciting to see because he did so well in college and high school, and everybody was expecting him to do so well. So it's good to see him doing good now in his second year. But they did get that victory, so they're 1-1 now. And it was a divisional game too. Everybody thought the Colts were going to be really good with Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan is looking old, and they didn't have Pittman out there to play, so they really didn't have no receivers to catch. But it just made Matt Ryan look hopeless out there. So. Yeah, maybe they can get it together, but 0-1 is not a good start. Dolphins and Ravens, which was a crazy game as well. The Ravens looked like they were run away with this game. Lamar Jackson was going crazy. He went 21 of 29, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, 9 rushes for 119 yards and a touchdown. Bateman actually had a game, 4 catches, 108 yards, a touchdown, had like a 70-yard touchdown. Lamar Jackson had like a 60-yard touchdown run. So we thought that the game was over and the Ravens were going to handle it and just run away with the game, but no. Tua had another story. I guess Tua had 2 interceptions in the first half, so everybody thought it was going to be a blowout. But in the second half, I guess he had like 6 touchdowns, ended up with some crazy ass yardage. What did he have? He went 36 for 50, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns, 52 fantasy points. If you had him in fantasy, if you had him on your bench, you're probably hella mad. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle both had crazy ass numbers, like 17 targets each. Hill had 11 catches for 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. Waddle had 11 catches for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill's catches all averaged 17 yards, and Waddle's catches all averaged 15.5 yards. So that offense is crazy. I'm happy Tua is actually doing good over there now, and I think there's somebody to actually have to watch out for. I think that speed alone is going to make some defenses have to watch out, and it's going to be something different. And maybe the Mike Daniels coming out of that, Mike Shanahan, was it not Mike Shanahan, what's Kyle Shanahan's system, will have him actually using them in a good way, having a mini Debos out there with quicker speed, not as big as Debo, but they're hella fast, run 4.3, 2 people that run 4.3, and a bunch of like Gesicki and a bunch of fast running backs. That offense is going to be crazy. I think they have a little something going on. I know they're not going to win the division with the Bills being in the division, and they play this week, so we'll see who's going to, have the advantage in the division right now because they're both undefeated. But yeah, that team is crazy. It was another one of those comeback games. You saw it. You saw one for the ages. I watched a little bit of it on Red Zone too and read these stats and was like, damn. Commanders actually lost to the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are looking good. Like last week when they played the Eagles, they did look pretty good. They weren't able to catch up to that 38 points that the Eagles had, but they're able to catch up a little bit. In this game, they're actually able to show that they're not a pushover this year. Jared Goff went 20 for 34, 256 yards and 4 touchdowns. Amon-Ra, the sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown, went for what did he have? He had 11 catches or 11 attempts and 184 yards overall. He had some rushes, had a bunch of catches, 184 yards total and 2 touchdowns, or actually 1 touchdown. Got off in fantasy if you had him, especially in PPR. And then Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel are showing to be a crazy receiver trio for the Commanders. Something kind of like what they have over there in Miami, but they don't really have a quarterback that, well, I don't want to say Wentz is worse than Tua, but I don't know. It's something about McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel that's different from that Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill speed. You know what I'm saying? Shifty in space. I know the other guys are speed demons as well, but I don't really think there's anything like Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill in the league right now. But they do have a crazy receiving core over there, and once they get Chase Young back and they get all those pieces back to the Commanders, if Carson Wentz can hold them down, that division, I mean, I'm telling you, it's up for grabs right now. The Eagles are looking good, but this is kind of the first year they're all putting it together, and they got a bunch of young guys on the team, so it's not all set in stone. It's only been 2 games, so the Commanders are 1-1 after losing to Detroit 36-27. So they're not completely out of it, but they could make some noise possibly. Seahawks lost to the 49ers 27-7. This game was pretty sad, actually. Trey Lance broke his ankle in this game, which was really unfortunate. It was the second game we actually got to see Trey Lance. The game wasn't super monsoony like the first game was with the Bears, so we thought Trey Lance was going to get a chance to showcase himself and show that the offseason he really got to work with these receivers, especially Brandon Ayuk, and show that the contract that Debo got, Debo's ready to show his ass too, means do well, and kind of show what the whole team had put together over the offseason. But he ended up breaking his ankle tragically. A lot of these quarterback keepers, these offenses that get ran with these athletic quarterbacks is dangerous, man. I think Josh Allen is fortunate that he's so big, but these other guys that are running, Lamar Jackson, Trey Lance, these kind of like smaller guys that can get up under these linemen and just kind of like, really anybody can hurt themselves on any given day. But it's just, man, these quarterback runs are just nuts because these quarterbacks are like the most valuable people on your team. you traded so much for Trey Lance, and for you to even put him at risk on these like designed runs and shit like this. It might not even been a designed run because I didn't see the actual play where he broke his ankle. Again, I was probably watching my Buccaneers or watching Red Zone or watching some other games which I have players in. But a lot of the times it's probably because he was, scrambling a little bit and got caught up. But luckily they still got Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy Garoppolo was actually able to go in there and do his thing, hold the team down. The Seahawks are back to being the Seahawks. Yeah, that running game wasn't able to do anything. I don't think the running backs did anything really. No receivers were able to do anything. They weren't able to push the ball down the field at all. I'm pretty sure Geno Smith threw a couple of interceptions that game, and he was actually back to being Geno Smith. He was talking about, oh, everybody wrote me off, but I didn't write back type shit. But yeah, if you're not gonna beat the 49ers in your division, you might have who'd they beat week 1? Oh, they beat the Broncos. That wasn't even in the division. So they got to beat the division teams if they're actually going to be taken as a threat. And Geno Smith, man, you're fighting for your job right now. You got to do better than 7 points. Atlanta and the Rams, which was another interesting game because the Atlanta Falcons almost came back. The Rams, of course, were heavy favorites in this game. They were, I think they're at home, if I'm not mistaken. So they were favored by like 10 points, 10 and a half points. I remember saying the spreads last week. It was something crazy like that. But Matthew Stafford, man, had a couple of turnovers. They were doing well. The Cooper Kupp connection was there. They were moving the ball at will pretty much on the Atlanta Falcons and actually were scoring. They're up 28-3 at one point. And everybody was talking about, dang, I know the Falcons aren't going to want to see this score, but it's 28-3. Maybe this score is cursed on you guys. And then at that point, they're starting to make a comeback. Mariota was doing well, completing some passes, scrambling out there, doing what he needed to do to make a comeback. And they actually almost came back. The score ended up being 27-31. In the last moments, Mariota tried to make a play to come back on 4th and forever, probably, or something like that. And he ended up fumbling the ball, and he really didn't have an attempt to score. Drake London, if you have him on your fantasy team, was doing really well. He was targeted like 11 times, had a bunch of catches. Kyle Pitts didn't really do well. I know people are mad about drafting him early in fantasy. He's not been doing really well the first couple of weeks, but he said he's not mad about it. It's all a game plan, even though they're not winning. Usually people say that when they're winning games. I don't care about the game plan. We won, so that's all that matters to me, but they didn't even win, so I would be pissed off about it. But he's being a good sport about it. It is only his second year, and he's trying to get the bag, so he don't want to stir no waters up. He knows what's good. But Mariota got to start winning some games, though, because they're ready to replace you with that young rookie they got. He looked good in preseason. Though it's probably not your fault that the team is doing bad because you don't really have much to work with out there. But I don't know. They're going to use any excuse to try to replace you like that, brother. So do a little bit better. It's another one of my Oregon partners. So I want him to do well at all costs. Another crazy game. Oh, so Atlanta's 0-2 and the Rams are 1-1. And now that they actually got on the right track and won the game, Derek. Arizona won 29-23 against the Las Vegas Raiders, which was a crazy game in Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Raiders fell to 0-2. Arizona Cardinals were actually fortunate to get to 1-1. The Raiders, I don't know what's going on with their offense. I have Derek Carr in fantasy, and it's kind of crazy because he's not helping me out at all. He only hit Devontae Adams for two catches, 12 yards. He got a touchdown, but he was pretty much held in check the whole game. Hunter Renfrow, he got a couple catches towards the end of the game trying to solidify the game in overtime, but he fumbled in that the fact that he took it back to the end zone. I'll get to that in a second, but the fact that the Cardinals were able to come back and score a touchdown, and they just it was even worse because they needed 8 points to actually take it to overtime. And there was a 2-point conversion play where I guess Kyler Murray held the ball for about 20 seconds during the play, ran 82 yards in length, the length of the field to try to score this 2-point conversion, and was actually able to score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie the game and take it to overtime for the Raiders to actually get the ball in overtime. And it got to the Hunter Renfrow thing, and the Hunter Renfrow actually got hit by Isaiah Simmons and he fumbled. Byron Murphy picked up the ball, took it to the house, like a 60-yard fumble recovery to the house in overtime. So the Arizona Cardinals stunned the Raiders at home in their house in a miracle comeback victory. It was crazy after the game too, because I guess Kyler Murray had a friend in the stands right there, and kind of would have been the black hole back in Oakland, but it was kind of like just the area where I guess the famous or the richer people got to sit, the more expensive tickets were. So he went to go say hi to his homeboy, and I guess one of the Raiders fans reached from behind him and slapped him in the face. And they pointed him out and caught him. They were showing him all day on camera, so I'm assuming they caught him. And they're probably going to either ban the person or, they're trying to put an assault case on him, so they're probably going to sue him or some kind of crazy shit. But man, it's unfortunate for the Raiders. It's unfortunate for that fan. And Arizona actually gets back on track with a 1-1 win. So I think every team in the NFC West right now is 1-1. So it's all even there. And the Raiders, man, 0-2. The NFC, man, the AFC West, a lot of those teams, are kind of struggling right now. I think the Chiefs are 2-0. The Broncos are 1-1. The Chargers are 1-1. And the Raiders are 0-2. So yeah. It's still close. I mean, it's still in the beginning of the seasons, but the Raiders need to get it together. Texans 0-1-1, a loss to the Broncos 16-9. It was not the prettiest game. Rest in that offense is still struggling out there with the Broncos. Excuse my language. Jerry Jeudy got hurt. There is still a running back split between Javonte and Melvin Gordon, which is kind of crazy for fantasy owners. If you have either one of them, it's probably shitty for them because it's like an even split, but the person you want to get the touchdown or a major pass, major run is not who we want. They split it up some kind of crazy. I'm happy. I got Cortland Sutton as one of my main receivers. And it just kind of sucks when there's not many weapons out there to defer coverage from Cortland Sutton. You see Russ kind of just forcing the ball up to him. The clock management has really been bad with Nathaniel Hackett, the first-time head coach that got over there from Green Bay. To be this first-time head coach over with the Broncos. So it's still looking ugly. They barely beat the Texans, which is crazy. They expected a lot more from the Broncos. There's not much I really want to say about that game, but Russ needed to get it together because he got booed last week by the Seattle fans at home, and he's struggling against the Texans. It's only a matter of time before the Broncos fans be booing too because they gave you all that money to be their quarterback, and you ain't showing nothing right now, player. You got to get it together, play it. Next game, 17-20. The Cowboys stunned the Bengals 20-17. Cooper Rush came out there and stood tall, 19 for 31, 235 yards and a touchdown. Him and Noah Brown had a connection. You know what I'm saying? Him and Noah Brown probably throwing it to each other, as backups with the second string so much in practice that they're like, oh, yeah, it's the number one connection that I got because, even though CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz need the ball, I'm throwing to Noah Brown most of the time with the seconds, so that the twos, you know what I mean? So this is who I have the most connection with from practicing with them so much. But I get it. I'm sure Cooper Rush can go out there and be as serviceable as Carson Wentz or as serviceable as who's the other quarterback over there for the Giants? Daniel Jones, you know what I mean? He's as good as them. So if that defense keeps playing the way it has been playing, was able to shut Joe Burrow and the Bengals down. The Bengals are 0-2. It's just crazy. That offensive line that they spent so much money on, they stole Alex Kappa from us. You should have stayed with the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to go over there and be trash, him and Lyle Collins, both are big time acquisitions over there in free agency, and they're still getting crushed. Joe Burrow's on track to be the most sacked quarterback in the league again. And he just came off a knee surgery. So it's like, come on now, y'all got to protect him. Chase is not going to be able to get the ball. Mixon's not going to be able to run the ball if that line is not showing out. They already got problems like that out there in Pittsburgh in the same division. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's looking like Lamar Jackson going to run away with that division if the Bengals don't get it together. Like I said, the Bengals are 0-2. The Cowboys moved to 1-1. And maybe Cooper Rush can hold it together. I think the Cowboys' schedule isn't really that hard this year. So if Cooper Rush can be serviceable, and they're saying that Dak Prescott may come back sooner than later, so maybe he can hold it down enough for the Cowboys to be in a good position to actually do something. Next game, Bears lost to Green Bay 27-10. The Bears are still in rebuild mode. Obviously, they have no kind of offense. The Green Bay defense just pretty much shut them down and made a mockery of them. The running backs are pretty much the talk of the Green Bay. Aaron Jones had 15 rushes for 132 yards and a touchdown. He had 3 catches, 38 yards and a touchdown there. Sammy Watkins actually showed up for Aaron Rodgers. He had 3 catches for 93 yards. But yeah, man, it's not much to talk about. The Packers still own the Bears at this point. It's still going to take some time for the Bears to get good. Justin Fields had some good moments, but there's still, a lot of work to do on that team, and don't expect anything anytime soon. But just stay in there, bro. Bears fans, I know you guys are loyal, and there'll be brighter days around the corner. Who knows? Aaron Rodgers might retire next year. Could be good for y'all. Titans lost to the Bills, got demolished. One of the last games of the week on Monday Night Football, 47-7. There's not really much to talk about in this game. It's just the ass whooping all around. The Diggs and Allen connection, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are looking unstoppable right now. Stephon Diggs had 3 touchdowns in the game, just killing. Josh Allen was doing Josh Allen things. I don't have his numbers, but just know he dominated 47-7. I think the backup was in by the fourth quarter, because Josh Allen just got out of the game. Derrick Henry only had 13. He had 13 rushes, but only had 25 yards. He scored a touchdown, which probably saved a couple people's fantasy days, but it's not impressive at all. He's not looking the same after that surgery since he's came back, and it's looking kind of wild for him right now. I'm hoping that he can get back to his old self, because I do have a soft spot in my heart for running backs. And, you know, they're just tossed around and tossed out of the league like they're nothing after they're used and abused for so long. And that makes me sad, man. I like Todd. I always go back to Todd Gurley, because he was one of the dopest running backs I've seen in a while. And we just forgot about him. Le'Veon Bell, we just threw him to the side. They wouldn't do that to no other position, but these running backs, they just forget, use and abuse and forget. So I don't want them to do that to Derrick Henry. He's actually been in the league for a while now, and he's kind of an older back. So just a couple of years of drop off, and they'll be ready to replace him. But yeah, the last Monday night game, which was a little bit better, not much. The Vikings lost to the Eagles 24-7. And yeah, it wasn't really competitive at all. Jalen Hurts had a really great game. We're really seeing his development. He went 26 for 31, 331 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 2 rushing touchdowns, which was kind of crazy for me. I have him in 2 fantasy money leagues. I had him as my quarterback in one, and I was playing against him in one. I was winning by 20 points in the game where I was playing against him, and I had A.J. Brown, so I thought I had it in the books. But those rushing touchdowns and throwing it to Devontae Smith, bruh, you fucked me over. Especially, I mean, I get it. You wanted to make sure you knew or let, Devontae Smith know that you weren't going to just target A.J. Brown, your best friend, every game, and you are going to get your catches and stuff like that too. But goddamn, don't be so good. I'm just playing. Be as good as you want to be, because you're going to win me my league if you keep being that good. But last week in particular, in my Best of Bias Fantasy League, which I'll talk about in a little bit, it caused me to go 0-2 because he was doing so well in the league that I was playing against him in. You couldn't just, I mean, A.J. Brown did get his yards, but it was more so, he was looking at other people. Quez Watkins had like a 50-yard touchdown. I'm like, God damn, why don't you throw it a touchdown pass to A.J. Brown? You could do all the touchdown throws you want to A.J. Brown, but throwing it to all these other players ain't gonna work for me. But the Eagles are looking good. Their defensive line, their cornerbacks. Darius Slay had 3 interceptions. Kirk Cousins, for some reason, kept forcing it to Justin Jefferson. I don't know what the team has in this contract to say you have to throw to Justin Jefferson 17 times in a game, but you have other receivers. Irv Smith was looking good out there. Adam Thielen was actually looking good as well. Use other people. I mean, because everybody's going to key in on Justin Jefferson, either double team him or put their best corner on him. And if they know you're forcing it to him, and especially if the line's not good enough to stop a good pass rush, you're not going to have time to let him maneuver and get open. He's going to be throwing up balls. Like, Darius Slay should have 4 or 5 interceptions, but he only caught 2 of them. You know what I mean? So it was that bad for Kirk Cousins. And they had his number. So hopefully next week he can recover. Week 1, they had him looking like gods out there in the next football, the NFL champions of the world. Justin Jefferson having 180 something yards, just out there playing with people. But now the people see that in film and see that you're force feeding them the ball. They're going to play them a different way, especially in red zone coverage. Red zone, situations. I don't know. You just got to be a little bit smarter about what you do and where you place the ball. They've been giving you a lot of money. You're like one of the most paid quarterbacks in the league, bro. You got to be way better than that. People are still not ready to give you your credit. And as long as you keep making mistakes and having games like that, they're not going to give it to you, bro. So, I mean, who am I? But I'm just saying, do what you got to do to get better, bro. You got Skip Bayless disrespecting you on TV every day. You know what I'm saying? You got Shannon Sharp looking crazy for picking you to go to the Super Bowl. Did I even talk about Dalvin Cook? 6 carries for 17 yards. When's the last time Dalvin Cook had 6 carries for 17 yards? That's atrocious. You know what I'm saying? They shut them completely down. So the Eagles are looking scary. Eagles moved to 2-0. Vikings are 0-2. And the Titans, like I said, fall to 0-2. And of course, the Bills are 2-0. So that's all the games. Let me jump into these predictions really quickly for week 3, the spreads and predictions. Just let y'all know what's coming up and what I think and a little bit of my predictions. This time, I promise I will keep track of what I had last week. But I know y'all was keeping track for me. I know y'all keeping me honest, you know what I'm saying? But for now, I'm gonna say I got them all right. How about that? This week I'll keep track and I'll really come back and let you know how many I got right. But this is for y'all to let y'all know. You know, maybe you guys were saying I was gonna be wrong. Y'all listened to it in the last week, and maybe I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? So make sure to let me know in the comments. Comment down there. Let everybody know. Maybe go comment on the Instagram because I'll be posting all this stuff on Instagram as well for y'all to get into. But anyways, let me get into these predictions. So Steelers and Browns. I think we got them Thursday night football. The Browns are at home, and the Browns are favored by 3. After seeing the Browns play the Jets last week, I don't know. I mean, they seem like they kind of had it together. They may have it together a little bit more than the Steelers right now. That quarterback situation is kind of crazy. And I feel like they're putting doubt in Mitchell Trubisky's head right now. So the team might be shaken up, especially being in the Browns. The Browns are 1-1 right now. I don't know. The Steelers do need a win. The Browns favored by 3. I'll go with the Steelers. I will go with the Steelers. Maybe we get a Kenny Pickett sighting in this game, and he carries them to victory, and it'll be like a Cinderella story for him. Ravens, of course, are 1-1 going against the 1-1 Patriots. Patriots at home. Ravens favored by 3. I got the Ravens in this game. I think they're way more put together than the Patriots right now, and I think that defense from getting roasted by Tua last week will learn a lesson and put up more of a fight against the Patriots when Mac Jones is kind of struggling. So I'll put that up as a Ravens W. Chiefs versus Colts. I'm not even going to front. Chiefs are trash. I mean, the Colts are trash. 0-1-1. The Chiefs have been looking crazy. So many weapons out there on the field. Patrick Mahomes gets it to anybody. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is looking good. They're going to get all those running backs on the field. They got a bunch of weapons and a bunch of stuff for Pat Mahomes. I think they'll be all right. So I think they'll win that game handily. They're favored by 6.5 with the Colts being at home. I think the Chiefs will definitely win that game. Lions versus the Vikings, a battle of the 1-1 team. Vikings are favored by 7, and the Vikings are at home. So, yeah, they got some work to do, and they have some making up to do for their fans and for themselves to show some heart and show that they aren't what they showed last week. I think the Vikings will. I don't think the Lions are necessarily ready to overtake the Vikings quite yet. I think Kirk Cousins is going to come out there. Is going to come out and show what he has, spread the ball around a little bit more and not be so obvious and be so predictable and throw those interceptions. So I think it'll be better against the Lions. The Lions are on the verge, but I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, the weapons will do their thing, but they won't do enough. I think, of course, Dalvin Cook won't only have 17 yards. So I think a lot of good things will happen for the Vikings this week and they'll win. And then I got next game here, and the Vikings are favored by 7. I said that already probably. Saints versus the Panthers. Saints are 1-1. Fuck the Saints. Excuse my language. Fuck them niggas. Saints versus the Panthers are 0-2. Saints are Saints -2. Wait, hold on. Did I go through this whole list and not talk about this Buccaneers game? Let me rewind. Rewind. We finally beat them goddamn Saints. The curse is over. I almost smoothly past that. Wow. This game was wild. How am I not going to talk about it? So, shit, where do I start? Our offense is still pretty banged up. We didn't have Julio. We didn't have Chris Godwin, nothing like that. Our offense wasn't able to run the ball like we did last week against the Cowboys. So, you know how the defense is on the Saints. They kind of had our number from the last couple of years. But this year, we felt like even though we didn't have our weapons, we we're going to come out there and do our thing. The our offensive line actually held up and did a good job against the Saints. Brady, I don't think, was sacked. He might have been knocked down a couple times, but I don't think he was necessarily sacked. If he was, it was probably just like once. It's just that we didn't have any receivers to make any connections on. I wouldn't even say that they were locked up. It's just the receivers that we had out there didn't know their routes really well, the route tree really well. And when they did get opportunities, they didn't catch the ball. I'm talking to you, Scotty Miller, catch the goddamn ball. If you're going to be out there showing out and if we're going to keep you on the roster over Tyler Johnson, you got to catch the goddamn ball. That's all I'm saying, bro. So Tom Brady did kind of struggle out there. People are thinking that Tom Brady's in a slump. And it's just because we don't got people out there that really know what they're doing. As far as timing goes, Tom Brady hasn't really had time with these receivers, especially the ones that are there now coming and signing off the practice squad. We had to actually sign Cole Beasley because, goddamn, all our receivers are hurt. I didn't know Julio Jones was going to be hurt for more than 1 week. I was hoping after week 1 that he would actually be there for us and be kind of cool and, help us win some games while the other receivers are out until Chris Godwin got better, until Russell Gage got completely healthy and got up to speed on the playbook. But It was pretty bad. Our defense is incredible, though. Devin White's playing like a dog. Carlton Davis is shutting down everybody's best receivers. And Jamel Dean had 2 interceptions in this game, is showing his skills. Sean Murphy Bunting, I didn't see him on the field a lot. I mean, pretty much at all, which is kind of crazy. And it's showing the development of Jamel Dean. But pretty much the game was like 3-3 for the whole game until in the third quarter. Something crazy happened. Marshawn Lattimore and the Mike Evans saga continues. We weren't doing well. It was 3-3. It was a pass interference. It was Marshawn Lattimore on Scotty Miller, wrote him out of bounds and really give him a chance to run his route. The flag wasn't thrown. Our sideline was chirping at the referee, but Marshawn Lattimore and Marcus May were actually on that sideline. And as they were complaining to the ref, Marcus May was talking mess to our coaches. He was talking mess to Tom Brady. He was talking mess to Leonard Fournette. And as he was talking mess, Tom Brady continued to talk mess to him. They walked into each other and kind of got face to face. Leonard Fournette didn't like the fact that Marshawn Lattimore was getting in his quarterback's face, and who knows what he was actually saying. So Leonard Fournette actually pushed Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore retaliated by pretty much hitting Leonard Fournette in the face, causing the referee to throw a flag. But once Mike Evans saw that, he took an opportunity. He always takes his opportunity to take shots at Marshawn Lattimore whenever him and his homies kind of start talking mess and start, playing dirty against the Bucs. So he took this as an opportunity to go out there and rush Marshawn Lattimore again. Gave him one of them shots. Some people were talking about how it was a blind side. I don't think it was a blind side. I know he didn't see him coming, but it wasn't like he hit him in the back. He hit him straight on. He wasn't ready for it. He was okay. He got up. His boy Marcus May actually hit Mike Evans in the neck. And then Marshawn Lattimore and both of them jumped on him, and they jumped on the ground, causing a big brawl between both the teams. They ended up getting pulled apart, but after Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans both got kicked out of the game. This actually energized our defense and our offense, and we actually were able to score a touchdown. And then Jameis Winston turned back into Jameis Winston, was trying to force the ball to Chris Olave, throw a bunch of interceptions to Jamel Dean, and fumbled once, but they got the ball back. And he threw a pick 6 to Mike Edwards. So thank you, Jameis. Thank you, Marshawn Lattimore, for lighting that fire. But Mike Evans was suspended for a game. People are kind of talking shit in the media right now. Oh, yeah, he's getting suspended, losing a game check, and he's going to lose like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Actually, he restructured his contract. So he's only making a couple million this year. So a game contract for a game check for that $1 million contract is only like $62,000, which is like pennies in hindsight because his salary jumps back up to $13 million a year next year. So he's kind of gaming the system. So anything that actually happens to him this year fine wise is going to be actually half, even just like pennies on the dollar to what it would have been if he was actually getting paid a bigger salary, if that makes sense. He restructured his contract a bunch of times so that we can get other players on the team that we didn't have before to strengthen our team for the Super Bowl. So him being the good person that he is and the usually level-headed, well-mannered guy he is, unless you're playing the Saints or anybody messes with his teammates, he turns into straight thug mode, straight goon mode. But I respect that. He rides for his team. He told the referee, it's Tom Brady. What do you expect for me to do? And I feel like we're going to be able to handle the Green Bay Packers without Mike Evans this week. Hopefully some of our receivers make it back. And again, we signed Cole Beasley, and I think we'll be able to run the ball a little bit better against Green Bay. And I'll get there back to those predictions. But I had to throw that in there. We did end up winning the game 20-10, I believe was the end score. They beat us like 7 times in a row regular season wise. We beat them now, so that streak is ended. I think the total record us against them is like 15-7, and they won over the last 10 years. So it's not really a rivalry. We've been whooping their ass pretty much until as of recently, you know what I mean? In the last couple of years when we got Tom Brady, they've been doing us in, but we finally won that game 20-10. And let me jump back into these next week predictions. I'm sorry. I just didn't write that on my paper and I didn't see it on there. So I skipped right over it. That's crazy. If I wasn't gonna be able to talk my shit, I got to talk my shit. We 2-0. God damn it. Anyways, back to these predictions. Where was I? Texans. Oh yeah, Saints and the Panthers. Saints are favored by 2. Panthers are at home. I got the Panthers. I ain't never going for the Saints. Texans 1-1 versus the Bears, who are 1-1. Texans are favored by 3, which is really disrespectful. I think the Bears are going to win that game at home. Justin Fields is actually going to get one, actually go 2-1 and have a positive record, which is going to be tight for him. Eagles are playing the Commanders, another in-division game. I don't think another in-division game. It's an in-division game for the Eagles this week. They're 2-0 playing the 1-1 Commanders. Eagles favored by 2. The Commanders are at home. I think the Eagles are going to actually be able to do their thing against them. But those receivers, like I talked about a little bit earlier on the Commanders, may cause the Eagles secondary a little bit of trouble. But we'll see how the Commanders line holds up against the Eagles O-line. And I think the Eagles will be able to do their thing like they've been doing against everybody else offensively in the next couple of weeks. So I think everything will be good with them. I think, hold on 1 second, my phone will do not disturb. I think everything will be good with them. They'll go 3-0 until they face a tougher opponent. And I think, the Commanders aren't that tougher opponent. So the Bills this game is going to be kind of crazy. Bills 2-0, play the Dolphins in Miami 2-0. Bills favored by 4.5. I'm going with the Dolphins with the upset in this game. I know the Bills are favored and all that to be the ultimate star team this year, and everybody thinks they're just going to walk to the Super Bowl, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to actually happen. I think the Dolphins are going to surprise the world, and they're going to show themselves as a true contender and actually going to win the game. Bengals, Jets. Bengals surprisingly 0-2. Jets are 1-1. The Bengals are favored by 4.5 with the Jets being at home. I'm hoping the Bengals can win this game, but the Jets are actually surprising people with Joe Flacco and those receivers. Zach Wilson is actually not going to come back until he's 110%, Salah says. So I think Flacco's going to be in there for a while, and he's going to be playing balls to the wall with nothing to lose and trying to win every game. So I think, the Jets have a chance. And if the Bengals offensive line keeps playing sorry, unless those, Tremaine Johnson, Quentin Williams get to the quarterback, the Jets can steal this game. Raiders 0-2 playing against the Raiders, or the 0-2 Titans. Titans are at home, favored by 1.5. They feel like it's going to be a get-right game for the Titans at home, but I think it's the game that the Raiders will win. I don't think the Titans are very good this year. They lost A.J. Brown, and I think it causes more of an effect than they really know. They gave all that money to Ryan Tannehill, and they should have gave some to A.J. Brown because you're seeing what it was doing for the Eagles, and it's having an adverse effect on the Titans. Derrick Henry is not able to do what he wants to do because the option or the threat of having one of the number one receivers out there running routes like A.J. Brown running across the middle of the field and doing stuff like that isn't there. So Treylon Burks probably will get there, but he's not there yet as a rookie, and he's not that threat yet. So right now it's looking bad for him. I think the Raiders will get it together. Devontae Adams didn't really have any yards last game, and I think he will get a bunch of yards against them. I don't even know who their number one receiver is on the Titans right now. So if I can't even think of his name, I don't think he's going to be able to handle Devontae Adams. So I got the Raiders. Jags play the Chargers. I don't know if Justin Herbert's actually going to play. They're saying that he's day-to-day with those ribs. And I don't know who the backup quarterback is for the Chargers right now. But if Justin Herbert goes out there and plays against the Jags, I think you can actually win the game. I'm going to go for them every week no matter what. Trevor Lawrence is a tough task. He is playing better ever since getting a new head coach and getting his boy ETN back and getting Christian Kirk out there. So who knows if Herbert doesn't play, all bets are off. I think the Chargers defense can actually hold it down enough for the backup quarterback on the Chargers to actually do something. But I got the Chargers actually. They're favored by 7. The Chargers are at home in LA, so I think they'll win. Packers are playing Tampa in Tampa. Bucks favored by 3. You already know what I'm thinking about this game. I think our pass rush and our defense will be able to do enough to shake up Aaron Rodgers. Though Aaron Rodgers is that guy. He's pretty good. I think their receivers out there won't be able to do enough to get open. I know Carlton Davis will shut down their best receiver, and then Jamel Dean will do his thing. Our linebackers in coverage are doing great right now. I know Antoine Winfield's playing a lot of nickel, and we got Logan Ryan back there playing safety as well. So our coverage is pretty good. I think we can zone up against them and just rush a couple people out there and just, hold it down and just make Aaron Rodgers use his running backs. And you know how we do against running backs. We're able to shut their run game down pretty well. I'm just hoping that we're able to stop the flare, the check downs and Aaron Jones when he gets in space. As long as we can shut that down, and Levante David and Devin White are usually pretty good at shutting down the running backs when they get in space because they're pretty quick themselves. I think we'll be all right. I know our offense is going to have to pull something out of their ass to actually be able to score some points. But I think we'll be able to do it. I think we'll make by the time the game comes around, I think there'll be some surprises. We're signing Cole Beasley. People are saying he's going to be on the practice squad, but I think he's going to go directly to the roster. And I think there's going to be some good rapport with him and with him and Tom Brady. Tom Brady wasn't supposed to practice today. I'm recording this on Wednesday, and they said that he's gonna have a veteran day every Wednesday, and he doesn't have to practice. But he was actually at practice today because I think he needs extra time with his receivers to get that offense on point for him not to get embarrassed. Because this game is gonna be on prime time. It's him versus Aaron Rodgers. It could be the last time they actually match up. So this game is gonna be nationally televised, and he's gonna have to be on point. Last 2 weeks he didn't really play really well at all. So we're hoping that he gets back on track and that is actually able to show what's up. It's our home opener. So hopefully at home we can get that dub. And we have Kansas City coming in to our home next week. And they're on a roll. So we got to get on track this week and show that our offense can score some points because we're going to have to score some points with Patrick Mahomes. We're favored by 3, and I got us winning by 10. How about that? I'll throw a spread out there. I think we'll win by 10. Falcons, Seahawks, this game, I don't even know. I'm going to go for the Falcons because I'm always root for Marcus Mariota. They're 0-2, Seahawks 1-1. Seahawks are favored by 1.5 at home. I think the Falcons will actually turn around this game. Nothing much really to say about that one. Rams are playing the Cardinals. This should be interesting because the Cardinals showed last week they're not going to be pushovers. They're favored by 4.5 against the Rams, surprisingly. But we'll see. I mean, Matthew Stafford hasn't looked great these last couple of weeks. He showed that he's really only targeting Cooper Kupp again. I saw Higbee gets a lot of targets too, but Allen Robinson needs to get more involved. The running backs aren't doing really well at all either. And I don't really know who their third receiver is, Skoranek. He's not really making much noise to me either. So the team isn't really the same as last year. Maybe it's a Super Bowl hangover and they'll get it together by midseason. But right now, I don't know. The Cards might steal this game from them. I don't know. I can't definitively say that the Rams are going to win. So if that's the case, I feel like seeing last week and seeing what Kyler can do to keep his team in the game no matter what, I think he'll be able to do that thing. And I think I'll go with Cardinals for the upset. And then we got 49ers versus the Broncos. Broncos are at home, favored by 1.5 on Sunday night. We got Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Patrick Surtain is hurt. So I don't know if he's actually going to play this Sunday night. So that gives a lot of opportunity for the 49ers receivers to do their thing. The Broncos, I'm hoping their offense can do well because I do have Cortland Sutton. I'm going to get into fantasy here a little bit in a second. I do have Cortland Sutton. And I'm hoping that Russ Wilson can get it together because I do like Russell Wilson. And I do like that the Broncos actually acquired him and actually were able to get a quarterback because they were a quarterback away from being, good. Their defense was always pretty good. They got a bunch of young receivers. They had 3. They had Deshaun Hamilton. They had Jerry Jeudy. They had Cortland Sutton. They had KJ Hamler. So there's a bunch of receivers that just needed a quarterback to get them the ball. They're not all, and Tim Patrick. I can't forget Tim Patrick, who was showing out last year as well. But there were some injuries, and they are dealing with some injuries. And it is a new quarterback, new offense, new head coach, new system. But we're going to need to see something out of them, especially against the 49ers, who's like a highly touted defense. And seeing how you guys played against last week against the Texans, which is not really a highly touted defense. I'm hoping for the best, but the 49ers might get this game. Cowboys versus Giants Monday night. Giants are favored by 3 at home. I haven't really watched the beginning to end Giants game, so I'll be paying close attention to this game to see how their offense is. I did pick up the Cowboys defense this week in fantasy. The Cowboys are 1-1. The Giants are 2-0. So I don't know if they're going to go 3-0 this week. I think their Cowboys defense will do just enough to make Daniel Jones to make a bunch of mistakes. They'll be able to keep Saquon Barkley in check, and Trayvon Diggs will be able to keep whoever their best receiver is in check and have Daniel Jones have to make decisions to the other receivers. And that might not go as well as people think. You know what I mean? I just feel like, I don't know, Cooper Rush is going to be able to do it because Daniel Jones isn't really good at all. I know Saquon Barkley has been doing most of the work the last 2 games. Sterling Shepard has been doing some work as well. But I don't know. I just feel like the Cowboys will be able to do enough offensively. I don't know how good the Giants defense is. Ezekiel Elliott, he's still waiting for that big game, so maybe this will be it for him. If anything, they'll just run the ball, clock management, just get out of the game with the win, go 2-1, and be tied for the division lead. Actually, no, because the Eagles will probably be 3-0 at this point, so tied for second in the division. But I will predict that the Cowboys will win that one. I got the 49ers, so my predictions from top to bottom, just real quick, I got the I got the Steelers and Steelers versus Browns. I got the Ravens and Ravens versus Patriots. I got the Chiefs and Chiefs versus Colts. I got the Vikings and Lions versus Vikings. I got the Panthers and Panthers versus Saints. I got the Bears and Bears versus Texans. Eagles versus Commanders. I got the Dolphins in an upset and Dolphins versus Bills. I got Bengals over the Jets. I got the Raiders over the Titans. I have the Chargers over the Jags. Tampa, of course, over the Packers. Falcons over the Seahawks. Cards over the Rams. 49ers over the Broncos, and Giants over the, excuse me, Cowboys over the Giants on Monday night. Whew. And that was the NFL. You know what I'm saying? I got to keep it right and keep it tight with y'all. Let y'all know what was going on. Let me get into this fantasy real quick. Week 2, the Best of Bias Invitational. You know what I mean? Man, it was a tough one for me. I don't understand why my team is losing. My team has got some heaters on it. It's just some players just dud out when I make a decision. It's gonna be my third receiver. It's like my bench. I had Bateman on my bench who had like 20-something points. I had Waddle on my bench who had 40 points. I'm starting to think that Waddle should never be on my bench again because no matter what, he's gonna get those targets. You know what I mean? He had 40 points on my bench, and I ended up losing this week by 3. I lost 119 to 123 to Jason's team. Tay actually took an L to Dijon's team. 157 to 117. Kyle with the high score of the week with 184. Beat Sean 138. Derek won 112 to Yancey's 107. And Jeremy won 122 to Damon's 97. Man, this week was crazy. The first place, stayed in first place. Not much movement in the standings. I moved down to 0-2. I moved all the way down. Me and Damon are going through it right now. But we do get the first in waivers, which is not always the best thing. You know what I'm saying? Because there's not always good waivers out there. You feel me? But it is what it is. The standings for this week. Oh, actually, I forgot one matchup. John lost to Deshaun. Deshaun getting his first win, 119 to 112. So yeah, John is, I think, is 1-1 now. 2, making the standings. Dijon's in first, Kyle's in second, Jeremy's in third, Derek's in fourth, Jason's in 5th place, Tay's in 6th, Yancey's in 7th, Deshaun's in 8th. John, you're in 9th, Sean's in 10th, I'm in 11th, and Damon's in 12th. Don't you guys worry. I'll make a comeback, you know what I'm saying? In my other league, I'm in 2nd place, but that don't matter. I'm talking about the Best of Bias Fantasy League, you feel me? But man, I'm not used to being down there in the bottoms, but I'm telling you, these threats, Dijon, his team is really good. He won this week without having to play Michael Pittman. Kyle, he had a bunch of players. He had Stephon Diggs with those 3 touchdowns. He had Mike Williams, who got like 25 points early this week. Then he had, who was his other receiver that just got a bunch of points as well? Amon-Ra St. Brown got him like 20-something points. He, even with Dalvin Cook only have 17 yards, he's able to show out, man. That team, 184 points, almost being a 200-point score. It's crazy, man. Again, Kyle, I probably need to interview you next because you or Dijon, because your teams right now are looking good. I want to see how y'all feel about being up there, being up towards the top, and feeling like, how you feel about fantasy. I want to get you guys' views on fantasy so far, players you like, players you don't like. So I'm gonna hit y'all up and probably have y'all on next week. Kyle, I know you got a birthday party to plan for little Campion. Shout out Campion, shout out Irie. See y'all real soon. But yeah, we need to get y'all on here to talk about some fantasy, man. I know y'all been waiting for a guest. There's been no guests, and I know it's probably hard to sit here and watch me talk for a while. Some people probably don't mind, but if you're listening to it on the audio, you probably don't even care. But if you're looking on the video wise, you're probably like, "Where the guests at, player? Where the guests at?" I know. I'm gonna get them on here, I promise. But especially how rapid these games go, and how fast I need to get these results to y'all. People's schedules be hella crazy, and they're getting REL moved across the country. That's AKA his name, but I always do that shit to y'all, dropping his government name when his name is AKA. But yeah, he's still blessing us with the videos, but he doesn't really have much time to be on the episodes themselves. But I do got some guests coming soon. I really do. I promise y'all. But we ain't even gonna do a commercial break. Let me just get into these little topics here. Got 3-4 little pop culture topics that I'll probably breeze through, just to let y'all know that I'm still out here getting these pop culture topics. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I do post all those topics on Instagram in my stories. Tells you a little bit what I'm kind of going to be talking about. If I don't talk about it, I kind of briefly talk about it there, try to get you guys' opinion. Don't be afraid. A lot of you guys respond and interact with me on there. Keep on interacting. I love it. Keep on asking questions. Keep on responding. Keep on reacting. I'm happy to get all this news to y'all and all this information. and able to, provide y'all with a little break from y'all everyday struggle. And sometimes maybe the news I give y'all can be a little deeper to add some stress to y'all. But sometimes my major goal is to lighten your day up. You know what I'm saying? Give you a little distraction, a little release from the roughness, the toughness, the hustle and bustle of the day, pretty much. But first topic I got, August Alsina versus Tory Lanez. Yeah, Tory Lanez is in some shit again. August Alsina is in some shit again. Me personally, I don't really know who to believe. A lot of the times these stories and this shit is just for rollout. Supposedly there is some kind of performance in Chicago. August Alsina Tory Lanez saw August Alsina walking down a hallway, and it actually was on video. He was just trying to greet him and say hi or say what's up to him. And August Alsina turned his head, looked at him, and kept walking in a majorly disrespectful way, if I might add. I mean, I know it doesn't warrant getting beat up like the story says, or he says that it actually happens like that. And there's videos supposedly out there of him getting beat up, but it hasn't hit the media sphere yet. It hasn't hit Twitter yet. And if it hasn't hit Twitter yet, I don't think it exists. But yeah, supposedly after August Alsina kept walking, I guess I did see in the video that Tory Lanez was with some big ass security guards. Yeah, he was with like 5 security guards. And I guess August Alsina was saying that he ran up on him in an elevator and beat him up just for not shaking his hand. He posted a picture with him bleeding from his lip. It was a weird ass picture, first and foremost. If anything, man, that man August Alsina be with the drama, you know what I'm saying? He be drama king in it. He can tell a story, boy. I'm not saying it's fake, but I'm just saying he knows how to publish it. He knows how to stretch it out. He knows how to get himself in there and get himself in some mess. But yeah, they're saying that he got jumped in the elevator by Tory Lanez security guards, and Tory Lanez sucker punched him just for not shaking his hand. And August Alsina went on to call him like a 4'11 leprechaun and saying that he's only doing this because he ain't got no friends and his music is going to burn out. He's flaming out type shit. I don't know. And me personally, I don't know what to believe. I know Tory Lanez does have kind of a temper, but I don't know. I don't know if he really has reason to lie. If there's a video out and that can be disproven that he's lying, I mean, I don't know why he would risk that at this time, especially with this whole case going on and people want him to get believed, or he wants people to believe him about his side of the story and shit like that. If he goes out here and blatantly lies about something that's clearly obvious and they have video of, it'll be a bad look for Tory. I don't know if August Alsina is trying to get back in the fame, get his 15 minutes back after putting out that music and doing all that Will Smith and Jada Smith shit, the entanglement shit, and is trying to come back out here and throw gas on a flame that is Tory Lanez. He's already in trouble if he's just trying to add to that and get in the mix and kind of like stand up for Megan by causing trouble with Tory Lanez. I don't know. I don't know what this shit is. More so, I don't know. I just thought y'all would care about it. So I know it happened, and I know y'all seen it, and I just want to make sure, I'm noticing. I'm not too sure what's going to come of it. I know Tory Lanez is supposedly dropping a mixtape or an album. So I'm hoping it's not rollout, because I don't know why everybody in the industry right now, especially rap, is just fighting each other and then doing a freestyle or dropping an album out after supposedly some beef is going on. So I'm hoping this ain't no fake stuff for promo. You guys are better than that. I know Tory Lanez is blackballed right now and his stuff is not getting promoted like it normally would be, So I hope he's not going this route to be like, oh, let's formulate this drama just so that my album can get talked about and we can, formulate buzz that way. That'd be kind of whack. But as this story continues, I'm sure we'll hear more details, but it happened. He had to get stitches or whatever. I don't know if any lawsuits are being put up, but as of now, there's audio being released and bullshit, little by little, shit's coming out, and I'm sure we'll see what actually happens sooner than later. And I don't know if we really even care, but I just had to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Next, NyQuil chicken challenge. Don't do it. That's it. Just don't do it. I don't even know why it's a challenge. People are marinating their chicken in NyQuil and cooking it and eating it as a challenge. Like, what's the challenge? Like, see who can die and who cannot die? You're sitting here cooking chemicals that are used to heal your body and help you sleep. I don't think you should be putting that on fire and eating that. I think that's bad for your body. I'm sure it's bad for your heart. I'm sure you're gonna die. It's like, it's almost as bad as the Tide Pod challenge or whatever that shit was. Like, you're poisoning yourself. Let's not do this for TikTok fame. It's supposed to be like some kind of TikTok challenge. And I'm not even gonna delve too much into this. Just don't do that stupid shit. People are starving around the world. go give somebody that chicken, cook that chicken for somebody homeless, you know, put it outside, chop it up for some kitty cats or some shit like that, bro. Don't put NyQuil on it and just don't be crackish. That sounds like some shit some crackheads would do. So don't be a crackhead. Eat chicken right. You know what I'm saying? Eat chicken right. Like I said, I'm not going to delve too much on that. This next one, though, is kind of crazy. Again, this is kind of just coming out. I'm hearing about it today. Don't know much detail, but Sean King, he is famous on social media to be supposedly a BLM person, kind of like a civil rights activist, of not really too much all BLM, but just a whole bunch of stuff as far as civil rights go. He is trying to put himself in the forefront. He's put a lot of like foundations together, or somewhat. I don't want to say put the foundation together. He's started a bunch of charities to help fund a bunch of stuff that has been happening. More so, or more specifically, him and his, organization, I want to say, has amassed millions of dollars during the whole George Floyd thing, about $6.7 million. And during this time, the whole team was supposed to be putting together associations and doing things with the money to give back to the community, to help civil rights and kind of help relations between the community and the police. But none of these actual programs came to be. So the whole foundation, him and the people that he was working with, were able to just pocket hundreds of thousands of dollars and not actually put the money towards anything that had to do with the civil rights movement. Actually, he was actually asking his people for money to actually fund himself buying a new house. And he's not even black, honestly. He's puts himself in the middle of civil rights. I'm not saying you have to be black to help with black issues and civil rights matters like that. It shouldn't really be it should be kind of like a part of it, but him being white should not allow him to help, you know what I mean? But the way that he goes about it, he puts himself out there as one of the number one guys that is trying to help, give him money, and he can go and make change and do things like that. And I've seen on Twitter, a lot of people are out there calling him a scammer and telling people not to give him money because a lot of the shit that he does isn't really helping, and he's not really doing much to help. But they're saying that he hasn't been heard from in a while, and a lot of these organizations hasn't come to be. So people are checking him for it. Back in the days, again, people were saying he was a scammer, but nobody really had proof to say so. But now I think evidence is coming to light that he is mishandling funds, especially the George Floyd was so iconic and monumental to help. Well, we moved steps closer to, mending the fences between police and, people of color, but we haven't made super improvements, but it restoked the conversation. So for the fact that we thought that he was actually doing a good job and actually helping push those programs and push that education and giving him, he amassed millions of dollars, $6 million. So it's kind of crazy. And now that we have a price and we have a number to it and we have records of it, people are pushing his buttons, and he supposedly deleted all his social media and is taking a break from it due to the allegations, just to clear his mind, be in a good mental space. But as this story comes, I'll talk more about it as well. As you can see, I don't really know much about it, but it's looking ugly for him. I hear you, Curry. Goddamn, just wait. Let me finish the pod. You hear the puppy out there? She always trying to mess up the pods. And lastly, Robert Sarver. You guys probably heard about him, the owner of the Phoenix Mercury and Suns. Whew, he was saying a bunch of racist shit, saying the N-word a whole bunch. He was being sexist to a bunch of his female employees. Supposedly, one of the quotes he said was, "Oh, you got a bunch of niggas on the team. They should have a nigga coach." Saying a bunch of crazy stuff like that. And teams, both NBA, WNBA being mostly black people, there's no room for that kind of language, for that kind of disrespect. So he stepped down and was suspended for a year initially. But ultimately, that didn't sit right with everybody. The Players Association, everybody outside looking in the media were saying a year isn't enough. He should have to sell the team, talking about the Donald Sterling type of situation, how he had to sell his team and walk away from owning a team because of the stuff that he was saying on the cell phone to his girlfriend. And he wasn't even saying like the N-word in person on the phone, the conversation. He was saying, "I don't want you hanging out with black people," type stuff like that. But this guy was actually saying the N-word blatantly and being super sexist, and wasn't even, his team wasn't even taken away from him. So it was it didn't get greeted in the media that well. But as of now, it just came out today that he is actually selling the team. He's looking for an owner to buy the team, both the Mercury and the Suns from him. So I'm hoping it's somebody black to kind of make up for a black woman. How about a black woman just to make up for all the sexist and racist shit that he's been saying behind closed doors? A year is definitely not enough. And Adam Silver, I think the only way to right that wrong is to make him sell the team and to somebody of color too, because we need to get more owners of color in the league anyway. So yeah, that'd be a great way to do it. But yeah, that was my last topic. Pretty rapid, only four little topics there. I have more for you next week when I get out here and give me a guest on here, but it's gonna be mostly football and fantasy for the next couple of episodes. You know, it's 18 weeks of football, so I'm gonna be on it, and it's gonna be basketball coming up, like I said. So it'll be sports heavy. If you don't like sports, I'm trying to make it to get 2 episodes a week so that the content is a little more versatile. I will get to that, but like I said, I'm going on vacation here soon, so I kind of just had to get the sports out and then get these couple of topics out and let you guys know how this fantasy football league is going and stuff like that. As you can see, this is the end of the episode. I like to let you guys know where you can find me at. On Instagram is SAC_Lydell. Of course, on the Snapchat is Patrick_Lydell. If you're looking for the podcast, of course, you can find us on YouTube. It's the Best of Bias, of course, the Best of Bias podcast, or just Best of Bias podcast. And you'll see, these faces, these pretty little faces you'll see around here. You know what I'm saying? If you guys need merch, hit me up on the Instagram or any of those sites I told you. I got some for you. Website coming real soon. I say that every week, but I'm going to get me a Shopify or a GoDaddy or something like that so you guys can see all the inventory I do got. It's a lot of inventory. I'm telling you, I got a lot more stuff coming, especially with the winter coming. I'm going to get a lot more beanies out, sweaters and stuff like that. Like I said, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? I got all this stuff for you guys, and I made it all for the Best of Bias family. I want you guys first and foremost to get this merch before everybody else does that haven't been represented as long as you guys. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see AKA soon. I promise I'm gonna get him on here to talk about a couple of these shows. Andor just came out. I'm watching a couple of other shows right now that you guys should check out. Rings of Power, of course, Abbott Elementary, hilarious show that just it recently came out in another season. It was so held in high regard so much that the next season, season 2 just came out right away. It's actually premiering today, which is Wednesday. And House of Dragons I'm also watching, but Andor more specifically is a Star Wars show that actually just came out today, Wednesday again. First 3 episodes came out. I talked a little bit about that in a couple episodes ago. But it being Star Wars, I got to get the Star Wars guy on here to come and talk about it. So we'll have him on here to talk about that. Probably we'll get him to talk about the whole season because it's going to be dropping 3 episodes at a time, and we're not going to review it episodically because that's going to be too much to do at once. But we'll get him on here to talk about that. Again, merch. Holla at me, bro, because I know y'all want it. I know we got some new colors coming, new beanie styles, shorter beanies if you guys like that. But yeah, check out those shows. Hit me up. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. Hit me up in the comments on the Best of Bias. Let me know what topics you guys want to hear next. Who should I get to be on the episodes? Like I said, I got plenty of guests planning to be on the episodes. I just have to actually connect with them and put down some dates and get them all scheduled. And again, I'm gonna start getting those double episodes out, getting more and more content out here for you guys. I know it's been kind of slow, just waiting for me every Friday. And especially with the NFL coming so fast and hearing the results kind of after the games instead of, you know what I mean? But we'll get more stuff out there for you, and it'll be less of a lull. We got a bunch of like holiday movies coming out, Avatar is coming out. Like, yeah, there's plenty of stuff, and it's not gonna all be sports, all the time. I'm gonna get some more stuff out here for you. But for now, I gotta ask, where's my theme song at? You guys have a great Friday. Happy Friday. Love all y'all. Thank y'all for joining. If it's your first time listening, thank you guys for being here for the first time. And come back next time. But yeah, where's that theme song at? Love y'all.
It's the best of Bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of Bias. Your Best of Bias. Yeah, it's the Best of Bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias podcast.